Hi, I'm John Maxwell. When the top companies in the world are looking for trainers, speakers, and coaches, there's one name that stands above the rest, and that's Maxwell Leadership. Our certified team members have gotten proven results for companies all over the globe, and our reputation, I'm proud to say, is second to none. Some of our members have risen to the top of their profession, including the one you're going to meet today. I proudly introduce you to my friend Bob Fabian Zinka.
Welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ, where we help you lead with purpose and succeed with impact. If you're ready to grow into the kind of leader others want to follow, this podcast is for you. If you're determined to elevate your success and leave a lasting legacy, this podcast is for you. As my mentor, Dr. John C. Maxwell reminds us, everything rises and falls on leadership. Our goal is simple: to inspire you, challenge you, and equip you with insights that can transform the trajectory of your leadership journey. Welcome aboard to another episode of the Leadership and Success Podcast with Coach BZ.
Welcome back to the Success Publishing Videocast. My name is Jessica Soto, and I am here with one of our co-authors today from Breakthrough Leadership, Alan Lowe. Welcome to the videocast.
Good morning. Excited to be here.
Yes, good morning. We love interviewing our authors so that we can shine a light on their work and their amazing stories. So, Alan, can you give like the cliff notes of who you are and where you are in the world?
Sure. I'm from Spring, Texas, which is just outside of Houston, native Texan. And I'm the vice president of a multi-million-dollar manufacturing company in Houston. My dad was a World War II Army Bronze Star recipient, and he taught me that if people can't trust you for your word, they really can't trust you for anything. And my mom taught me that if you can't say something good about somebody, don't say anything. And she also taught me what ivory soap tastes like when I told her to shut up. So
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
it still makes me nauseous today. But I'm a United States Air Force Vietnam veteran, and had a top secret clearance. And I think one of my first life-changing moments was when I was in Vietnam and I was walking across the sand, and I got stopped by an officer who told me my boots weren't shiny enough. And it kind of awoke me to the fact that everybody's priorities aren't the same as mine. You know, I kind of valued my life more than shiny boots.
Yeah.
So been married. My wife and I will celebrate our anniversary June 5th. It'll be 50 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we met when I was in the Air Force. Her dad retired.
All right, do we have a show for you? First of all, happy birthday, America. Tomorrow will be the celebration of 250 years since the Declaration of Independence. Wow. What a joy. What an achievement. Well, thank you so much for being here with us. As you know, Adriel, we're going to start with what we call a moment of gratitude. We always want to start the show by being grateful. And part of the reason why we do this is because every single day in this country, more than 21 service members and veterans commit suicide every single day. And we believe it is not possible to be suicidal and to be grateful at the very same time. Before we do that, please let us know, where are you guys joining us from? What city, what country? And let us know what you're going to be doing tomorrow to celebrate our 250th anniversary in the US. And if you are from outside the US, also let us know which country you are joining us from. And also, if you would type in the comment what you are grateful for today. And then if you do have a question for my guest, veteran Sergeant Alan Lowe, United States Air Force, go ahead and type the question in the comment, and we're going to be answering your question live. All right, you know the drill. For our moment of gratitude, we really like for you to just take a moment and really think about one thing you are grateful for right now. Maybe close your eyes, take a deep breath, and put yourself in your happy place and think about one thing you are grateful for in this moment. And for this podcast, really, almost every day since June 10th, we've been really grateful for freedom. I think there is nothing more important than that. Freedom, 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 freedom. And tomorrow, again, we are celebrating the freedom when America was finally independent from the United Kingdom. And we really want to celebrate that. But one thing I would like to add, though, yes, go ahead and barbecue, celebrate however you do. And I think everybody should. But we also need to be reflective tomorrow, I believe, because on July 4th, 1776, there were about 500,000 African American enslaved. So the home of the brave, the land of the free, had enslaved more than 500,000 people. And then on June 10th, right before the Civil War, it grew up to almost 4 million people. But even when I say 4 million people, we actually know the exact number because of the census. It was 3,953,760 African American were enslaved before the war. And it's kind of like 9/11. That's part of one of the primary reasons why I joined the Navy. People say about 3,000 Americans died. Well, each number means a lot for a family. Many of them, they were married, they had children, they had grandchildren, and that means the world to them. So if you say 3,000, that's not exactly true. It was 2,977 people who died on 9/11. That was part of the reason why I joined the U.S. Navy 21 years ago. But all I'm saying, yeah, our history is very difficult, right? It is not easy. It's very, very complicated, but I think we need to embrace all of it, right? It doesn't make sense to erase our history. We need to learn from it and we need to know it. Every American should. So yes, go ahead and celebrate freedom tomorrow, and I definitely will. I will have barbecue, spend time with my family, but also have a moment of reflection of why in the world did America, the home of the brave, the land of the free, need a second Independence Day? Just think about that. All right. Now, today I'm going to be speaking to somebody I've been trying to speak to for at least a month now. I think it's going to be an inspiring conversation. We're going to be speaking with Sergeant Alan Lowe, United States Air Force veteran. He's a business executive, an author, a nonprofit founder, and servant leader whose life has been defined by service, by integrity, and the commitment to helping others succeed. Now, what I am going to also say, we're going to be talking today about why are you here? It's really about your purpose, isn't it? We're going to be talking about leadership, legacy, and living a life of service, right? Alan Lowe's journey really is a powerful reminder that leadership is not measured by title or by accomplishment alone, but it is measured by the lives we impact. He's a Vietnam-era U.S. Air Force vet, like you heard in the intro video, but he also a very successful business executive. Right, he's a published author, actually a best-selling author on Amazon, and he's the founder of Helping Hugs for Children. Alan has really spent decades helping organizations grow while dedicating his life to empowering vulnerable children and families around the world. And his nonprofit actually is very special to me because it's definitely helping children in Africa, especially in Liberia. And if you know your history, Liberia was actually made up of African American who decided to go back to Africa, and they formed the country of Liberia. So Liberian are African American, basically. But anyway, it is just amazing the work he is doing there. And this book, right, Breakthrough Leadership, challenges reader with a profound question: why are you here? And I think that question really became the catalyst for personal transformation that ultimately led Alan to redefine success through service, purpose, gratitude, and giving back. So part of what we're going to be learning today is leadership lesson for military service and executive leadership, but also practical lesson on leadership, family, faith, and legacy. So without any further ado, please help me welcome to the Leadership and Success Podcast, the one and only Alan Lowe. Good morning, Alan. How are you doing today?
Morning, how are you? It's great to be here.
Great. And happy birthday, America. What are you grateful for today, Alan?
Probably the leadership and direction and knowledge that I get from the Holy Spirit.
Wow, that is powerful. I love that. And I don't know, I feel like for a lot of people, times are kind of tough right now. And I really couldn't imagine living my life without faith. How has faith been important to you?
Well, I start the day and end the day with it. So
Yes.
every day.
Powerful.
and always ask for knowledge, wisdom, and guidance in the decisions that I make. So,
Wow. And also, again, thank you so much for your service. Sergeant in the United States Air Force, and you are a Vietnam veteran. I know that was quite a turbulent time for our country back then. But I always think, no, only by the grace of God. No, I'm so glad you came back to us, no, in one piece, because so many of your fellow veteran service members did not make it back, and no, I guess we don't have all of the answer. We're never gonna understand everything, but I am so glad that you came back, because the work that you are doing, I think the purpose for your life and all the impact you are having in Afghanistan, in Liberia, and with your book and the work you do, no, it is very, very important. So I definitely want to celebrate that. Is there something about you, Alan, that most people may not know? Like maybe something unique or a superpower when they first meet you?
uh, yeah, it's to me one of the important things is to have an open mind.
Mm,
I don't know who said it, but somebody said that your mind is like a parachute. Works a
yeah,
lot better when it's open.
I love that.
Yeah, and I've seen a lot of people who aren't like that. Uh,
Mhm.
so that, and something I learned just a couple of weeks ago from my life coach, which I've always had a coach because I'm always trying to get to the next level.
Mhm.
Is and we might discuss it later on, but it's about learning how to speak other people's language.
Wow.
And it's not necessarily a different language, but
Mhm.
it's how to learn what people say, or really it's learning how to learn what people mean by
Yeah.
what they say. So
Mm. I love that. It reminds me of the Five Love Language by Dr. Gary Chapman, which encourages you to know exactly the love language, not just for your family, your spouse, your kids, but also your coworker, so you know exactly kind of how to feel their tank, what is important to them. It's quite an idea, and yeah, and I do believe that learning to speak other people's language, that really puts you in the no the level of leadership, which is really caring how to be effective, no matter who you try to influence or add value to. Wow, that is really insightful. But if we kind of went back, kind of strip you from all of your achievement and your title, the rank you've had in the military, and you are a very successful executive in all of the non-profit work you're doing, which is having a real impact on people. Who are you without all of that? Who is Alan Lowe without the title and without all of the achievement and accomplishment at your core? Who are you?
well, that's a deep question.
Yes.
uh, I guess it's my whole goal and drive has always been helping other people,
Mm,
whether it's in their daily lives, some support that I can give them, in their business lives, making their job easier, you know, because I feel that, we should go through life trying to, I guess, contribute to other people instead of taking away from them. So
wow.
it's kind of the pay it forward mentality.
Hmm.
And so, that's what I kind of live by, regardless of where I'm at. And sometimes I have to remind myself.
Man, yeah, I really think in its essence, leadership is really service. But where do you think that desire to help other people, to add value to people, where do you think that came from?
I know one is it comes from my faith. Uh, you know, what was given to us, uh, how do you repay that?
Yes.
So,
Wow.
and it's through service.
That is really, really insightful. And I think the world would be such a much better place if everybody, had the mind of just helping even just one person every single day. Wow. Powerful. And
Yeah.
what lesson from growing up in Texas kind of shaped the leader you became?
Well, Texas, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It, taught me that, the value of hard work, faith, resilience, and taking care of people around you. In Texas, there's a strong sense of community and personal responsibility.
Yes.
And you learn early that, your word matters. And that if you help your neighbor when they're struggling, and that challenges are something you face head on and you don't run from them.
Yes.
So they've kind of shaped the way I lead today, whether in the military, the nonprofit, or in everyday life. I've tried to lead with integrity, humility, and a servant's heart. So, it's also taught me to remember where I came from and appreciate the people who helped me along the way.
Yes.
And, understand that real leadership isn't about recognition. It's more about the impact that you make on other people's lives.
Wow, that is really, really powerful. I feel like it is simple, but it is so powerful, especially when you put this into practice, you know, every single day. And was that mostly due to your parents, because your father was a World War II Bronze Star recipient, right? And your mother kind of taught you powerful lesson about integrity and kindness growing up. What
Right.
values from your parents kind of still guide you today?
Well, one was, the my mom in particular, and my sister also, about caring for others, and having the compassion for other people. And today we find out that most of it, the world is all about me
Yes.
and what I think I deserve, instead of how can I help other people. So those aspects, integrity, kindness, and caring for others. So that still leads me in basically everything that I do.
Wow.
Yeah, and the taste of ivory soap. So
Yes.
that's something that I'll never forget, and I can still taste it today when I told my mom to shut up. So
Wow.
that was teaching me respect.
Yes. Man, because you often say, and I really love this, right? If people cannot trust your word, they can trust you with anything. Yeah, I remember that was my dad generation too. He was born in 1943. Kind of like your word is your bond. That doesn't seem to be something that people in this generation tend to really stand behind, even in our government. You can't hardly trust your own elected official this day, which is really very, very sad to say. Because I know some people, like they'd rather even trust a regime like Iran than trust what our government is saying, because it looks like they seem to be just lying about what's happening, which is very, very, very sad to think like that of your own government. But it's just so true in our society today. It seems like that's not really something that most people are committed to. Like I said, including our elected official. Why is trust the foundation of leadership, you think?
But if you tie it back to what you just mentioned about Iran, Iran is all about me.
Mm-hmm.
It's not about anybody else but me.
Yes.
And in my faith in that, it's not about me. It's about what can I do for you.
That's
You
powerful.
know, and so once you get out of that mindset and you start thinking about other people and how you can help other people, taking away is gone and giving back is always there. So,
Wow. So powerful. Yeah, I think there was a book that was written. I think the title was like "Everything I Know About Life or Leadership I Learned in Kindergarten." I think that's something that just make makes make makes sense, and that's why I think you really need to have a strong family. Just learning those core values that hopefully are gonna guide you through your entire life. So let's talk about some of the lessons you've learned from your exemplary, outstanding military service. You served in the U.S. Air Force during the Vietnam War with a top secret clearance. I did play that during the intro. How did military service kind of shape your leadership philosophy?
I guess it was an introduction to discipline and consistency,
Yes.
for sure. Because when I went in, I was 6'1", weighed 130 pounds. had like a 28-inch waist. And no matter what I tried to do, I could not gain weight. But
Wow.
during the basic training, with the discipline and the consistency of regular meals, regular exercise, I put on 20 pounds in basic training.
Wow.
And it wasn't fat. So, and it also taught me that, everything is not about me,
Mhm.
and to make it through difficult times, teamwork really makes a difference, so things seem to be a lot better when you're working with a team and you've got somebody that's watching your back. And in the military, that's what it's all about.
Yes, yes. So true. And I really wish every American, once they become of age, 18, 19, 20, would consider serving in the military, even just for a couple of years. Or if not the military, some type of non-profit, but kind of give back and have a different perspective. And like you said earlier, me, myself, and I, it's all about me. This way they kind of know there is much more in the world than just selfishness and just taking care of your own issue. The world is so much bigger than that. But from the introduction video, I was actually shocked. No, you relay the story about being criticized by an officer. I don't know where this guy went to learn his leadership, unshine boots in the middle of a war. It's like a matter of life and death, and he's really concerned about your boots. What did that teach you about perspective and priorities, for crying out loud?
Yeah, it kind of forced me to reflect on what truly matters.
Yes.
Being criticized over something as simple as that, it kind of felt out of place compared to the realities that we were facing, like you mentioned. But looking back over time, it was about discipline, standards, and attention to detail, even in difficult situations.
Yes.
I think you could have probably presented it a little different, but I don't know if you've seen the commencement speech of Admiral McRaven for Texas in 2014. If you haven't seen it, you got to watch it.
Make Your Bed. That's when he had written that book, becoming #1 bestseller. Yeah, I love him, and he's written so many other books since. But yeah, it's just incredible. Perspective.
It also, you speak of perspective. There's a difference between maintaining standards and living sights of priorities. And in life and leadership, it's easy to focus on outward appearances or minor imperfections while overlooking the bigger picture.
True.
Which is people, person, and what truly matters.
That is so true.
It shaped how I lead today, and I value discipline and excellence and accountability. But I also try to lead with understanding and perspective. And recognizing when to uphold standards and when to extend grace.
Yes.
And, a little bit more grace with the shiny boots would have been nice.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Wow. Because looking back over your exemplary military career, what leadership lesson from the military you think still apply to you today in your business life and all of your nonprofit work?
Going back to the teamwork and prioritizing, priorities in that, prioritizing your team's well-being, they give you their trust. Yes. And trust keeps everyone moving forward. And you also have to make decisive decisions, even when you don't have the full picture, because you're never going to have all the information. Yes. So you have to make the best decisions you can at the time in an expedient manner, and then go from there. And once you start doing that and people recognize you do that, you begin to get trust, and that's done every day. And so at its core, leadership isn't about titles. It's about responsibility, trust, and showing up when it matters most. So,
when you were still in uniform, I have to imagine during your deployment, even going to Vietnam, you kind of had to build trust pretty quickly with all of your peers, your unit, and the other airmen going there with you. Actually, it was a joint war. You probably working with people from the Army, the Navy, and the other branches. What do you think that helped you build that trust when the stakes are very, very high, but doing it quickly when you don't have a lot of time.
Yeah.
What helped you do that?
Well, one is, in the military, you have a filtered population.
Yes.
So, that helped for sure because, it's just not everybody that's in there. In fact, I think it was at 1% of the people join the military.
Mm-hmm.
And the camaraderie that you build while you're there with the people, and, going through the day-to-day situations that you go through,
Yes.
you can find out real quick who you can trust,
Mm-hmm.
who's got your back. And the ones that don't, they're usually not there,
Yes.
because that's what the military does. Is it builds that trust and camaraderie for the common
So true.
force, for the common, goal.
So true. I still have a lot of friends from my time in boot camp. That was in 2005. All right. That was 21 years ago. Just amazing. It is really a new brotherhood. And I know in the Bible it says a friend who's closer than a brother. There are some people in the military. I would definitely be glad or willing to put my life in danger for, basically love them even more than I love my own biological brothers and sisters, just because of what we went through. And that's pretty amazing, I think.
Yeah. Willing to give up, your life.
Yes. And they willing to do the same.
Right.
It's incredible. Because Bible also talks about what greater love. There is no greater love than to give your life for your friend. It is powerful. Because I don't really know in any other industry where people would do that. No, I live here in Silicon Valley. We have all of those big high-tech companies, Microsoft, Google, Facebook, or whatever. But nobody there will ever give their life for anybody. It's quite selfish. It's mainly about making a profit. But in the military, we have a greater vision, a mission that is greater than yourself. And I think that really means a lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, and that doesn't go away because I remember when my son graduated from Navy boot camp.
Mm-hmm.
We went there, and you can actually feel it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Really a military family. What a legacy. Your father was in the army, right? And you were in the Air Force, and your son in the Navy. Now, in my opinion, the best branch was your son, the Navy. But of course, I am biased. But it's just incredible. I just wish, I don't think you have to make a career out of it, because I think they say it's a very small number. I can't remember exactly the percentage, but I think it's like less than 10%, I believe, stay for the entire 20 years and get a pension. So it's not for everybody, but if you serve, even if it's just for 1 day or 2 years or 4 years, and then you get out, I feel like you would really learn a lot of skills, and it's gonna help you not be so focused on yourself and be so greedy, just thinking about the bigger picture.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Wow. So let's talk about the transition. A lot of people who listen to the show, they are in the military. Of course, at some point, everybody's going to transition out of the military back into the civilian life. How was it for you? Do you have at least one tip you can give to the enlisted folks and the junior officer who are listening, who are about to transition back into the industry?
Yeah. I was thinking that, I can remember when I got out. I don't remember how long this went on. Waking up thinking, am I in a dream or am I really home?
Yes.
I don't know if everybody goes through that or not. And I'm assuming the transition would be different for me that spent 4 years and from somebody that spent 20 years. The dream might last a little bit longer.
Yes. Yes, it's very difficult to turn that off, being on active duty and then coming back to a completely different world.
Yeah. I mean, the transition can kind of seem overwhelming if you haven't prepared by having some kind of exit strategy.
Is there one tip, one thing that helped you handle it a little bit better?
Yeah, I guess, it's, you have a tendency to have that fear factor, and that comes from not knowing what's going to happen.
Yes.
But if you kind of embrace the fear and learn what it is, you can work through it, because anything that you do, any transition you go through, we have a tendency to look at the top of the mountain or where I want to be.
Yes.
And
Yes.
if you take that away and you just look at, okay, what's my next step?
Mm.
And it's just like when you went into basic, the first morning I woke up after our drill sergeant was screaming at
Yes.
us, I got to thinking, what did I get myself into?
Mm.
And so it's just, okay, what
Powerful.
do I have to do to survive this? One step
Yes.
at a time,
Yes.
one day at a time, 1 week at a time until you get to where you want to be. So,
So powerful.
don't get overwhelmed with the size of the mountain. Just look at the next step.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
I think it's also important to reach out to anyone who was in any branch of service who's now successful in the industry, just not to get advice, mentorship, and tips. I think that helps also. But what about I've seen it. I don't know how it was in the army, especially during the Vietnam era. But I feel like there are many people in the service today. I can only speak of the experience I have. Sometimes they kind of feel guilty for their entitlement with VA benefit and so forth. To me, those are not benefit; they are entitlement. I think there is a very, very big difference. You served your country. You did something that less than 1% of people in this country do, and you are entitled to a lot of these benefit. And sometimes people, I've seen some sailor who's like, no, I'm not gonna claim that because I feel like somebody else deserve it better than I do, or they feel kind of ashamed or afraid to really claim what is owed them by their country. Like one thing, for example, it really breaks me. I live here in San Francisco, and from time to time we see homeless people, and many of them they are veterans. I can tell just because they have a U.S. Army jacket or a sea bag or something. So I know it's someone who has served their country with distinction and honor, and now for whatever reason they are completely homeless. To me, that's just unacceptable. We cannot be the most powerful country in the world and have people who served in our armed forces who have absolutely nothing to show for it. I don't know how that's going to be solved, but that's one thing I would like to spend my life trying to figure out. But basically, what I'm saying is, if you served any branches of a service, those are not just benefit; those are entitlement for you, and you should absolutely claim them. Do you have any thought on that?
Yeah, it's like I took advantage of my college,
GI Bill, yeah.
benefit, the GI Bill. So I got my degree with that, and I haven't used. Well, I take that back. I'm also a disabled vet from some of the issues that I got working on the flight line in the cold and that. So I do have a disability that I do receive, and I feel that if you need it and it's there, then it's your right to have it.
Absolutely.
I don't use the VA hospital. If I needed it, I would use it, but I've got other things that I can use.
Yes.
So, but I'm fully supportive of if there's a need that you have and there's a benefit that's available, absolutely.
Yeah, because in my experience, I've seen a few male in the Navy. I guess it's called the survival syndrome. I think is the name for it.
Yeah.
Well, you go to war, conflict, and all of your buddies die except for you, and you kind of feel guilty about that, so you refuse to live your life. But I feel like you should live your life in their memory and no, take full advantage of whatever entitlement that is due to you. But okay, let's talk about your executive leadership and business success. Quite extensive because you've spent decades helping multi-million-dollar companies improve operation and profitability, which is just huge. What separates good leaders from great leaders when it comes to business and enterprise?
Yeah, what comes to mind, you've probably met some people like this, and it's not walking into a room and thinking you're the most intelligent person in that room.
Yes.
Because once you do that,
humility.
You totally lose any capabilities or opportunities to learn. So, to put it short, get out of the mindset and learn that your ego ain't your amigo.
Wow, say that again. Learn that your ego.
Your ego ain't your amigo.
Wow, I love that. I've never heard it quite put that way before. That is so powerful. My primary mentor, Dr. Maxwell, says, if you have the smartest person in the room, you are in the wrong room. And I love that.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah.
Powerful.
And what's bad is some people don't even realize that. What advantage is it to you other than being able to share?
Yes.
No way of learning anything else. you know,
Powerful.
because your mind's already shut.
Man, any lesson from your military career that still impact the way you do business today?
Uh, yeah, it's the teamwork and
Yes.
learning. I guess the combination of accountability
Mm-hmm.
and I've got a picture on my desk. Some people take accountability as an insult
Mm.
and they oppose it. So learning how to get those two to work together.
Yes.
So there's a picture on my desk behind me, and it's a hand. It's a painting of a hand pointing at you, and there's a title below it that says accountability is a mechanism to learn and grow.
Mm. Powerful.
So and it's how you approach it. Holding people to standards because I believe that can meet them and wanting them to grow, and recognition and
Mm.
acknowledging the people when they do hit those goals in the extra mile. And
Wow.
so the balance comes from leading with both structure and heart and demanding results while investing in people and helping them
Mm-hmm.
as a human first. So,
I love that. No, I think we stole that from the army, but in the navy, we've learned the mantra, right? Mission first, but people
yeah,
always.
yeah,
So powerful. And that's also the reason why I think every employer out there should really consider hiring veterans. Because it doesn't matter how long they've been in the military, the army, the Air Force, whatever branch, enlisted or officer, it doesn't matter. That's really something I think we learn: being accountable, being a leader, being influential, and being responsible. And I think every business out there needs people like that, people you can trust. Like you said, no, their words is their bond. What they say, they will do. Not that they are perfect, but that's really what is ingrained into you throughout your military service, I think.
right. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Wow. So, what leadership mistake do you kind of see many executives out there make repeatedly, especially new executives in the industry?
Would you repeat that one more
Oh,
time?
what type of leadership mistakes do you see executive make?
Yeah, the main one is thinking they already know everything.
True, true.
I mean, because it's once they have that, your opinion and your thoughts don't even matter.
Yes,
So
yes.
it
So
gets to the
true.
point where why the hell am I even here?
Yeah, especially those who don't have real life experience. They go to a fancy school, even Harvard, Yale, or whatever. They have this little shiny degree, and now they think they know everything. Uh, but so true, so true. How do leaders kind of balance achieving result while genuinely caring for people? Now, earlier you said leadership was about service, taking care of people, but how do you balance that out, the people and the obligation for your mission?
It goes back to considering the objective and the people involved.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, because there's no way you can know exactly what they are thinking of. So you have to really try to make an effort to get to know who they are. What are they
Mm,
going through now that makes them make the decisions that they're making?
yes.
Because we have a tendency to create our perception of their problem through the life and the filters that we have lived.
Mm,
And that's not what they've lived. So,
true.
it might be that they can't even relate to that. So
Wow.
you really have to get to know the people that you're working with.
I like that. Wow. Really, leadership is really about people, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. If there's nobody
Wow.
behind you, you're not a leader.
That is amazing. Now, you've been a best-selling author, and I do want to talk about your book, Breakthrough Leadership with Alan Lowe. Leadership lesson from today's leading expert. And I guess it's been featured on Fox and NBC, CBS. You are like a very big celebrity out there. Why did this book have to be written? Why did you write it?
Yeah. I guess the question comes up to me is, why are you here?
Mm,
And that's one thing that everyone should be able to ask themselves and find out, because it defines what your purpose is.
Yes.
And without clarity, it's easy just to drift and react and take whatever comes your way. So I found out that when you truly discover your why, it increases a deep emotional connection that strengthens you and keeps you focused, especially in difficult moments. And for me, faith helps keep me focused on my why. And it keeps me anchored during challenges and gives my leadership meaning and reminds me to lead with intention and conviction.
Yes.
And honestly, I can say that probably at least once a month, if not more, I have to go back and, look at what is my why? Why am I doing this? Because when you figure it out, that's the only thing that'll take you back to where you want to be.
Yes. That is such a crucial question. It reminds me of a book by Simon Sinek, right? Start with why.
Yes.
Man, that's really critical, knowing why you do what you do. And isn't that also the part of the reason why, because not everybody's going to go through tough time and challenges eventually, does knowing your why kind of help you stay the course and keep moving forward regardless of the opposition or the challenges you face?
Yeah. And when you find it, it creates an emotional bond. It's not just something I got to do because I got to do it. You'll feel an emotion when you find out what your true why is.
It's powerful. Wow. I guess for those listening, if you don't get anything else out of this podcast today, find your why. I think it's going to make all the difference. I think that's probably the reason why you take two people about the same background, similar experiences. They're going through the same challenges, and one of them completely fumbles and fails and just almost dies and completely paralyzed by whatever challenges, and somebody else, they just keep thriving and they just keep going through it. I think it's really having the mindset and knowing exactly, why am I doing this? Why is this important? Why I would not give up? It's wow, amazing. Now, in your book, you also write that many people feel something is missing in their lives. What was missing in yours?
At the time, I guess it was a sense of purpose. I felt that I was here to make a difference.
Yes.
What it was, I didn't know. And I felt that, just doing a 9-to-5 job, collecting a paycheck and going home, to me, that wasn't it. I didn't know what it was, but that wasn't it, So I felt that there's got to be something more worthwhile. Yes. And I know I didn't want to just do this the rest of my life. So you have to actually seek what your purpose is. So.
If you can take us back to that moment, physically, where were you? I believe you were sitting at a desk, right, in your office when that happened.
Yeah.
So how did you feel? Because I think so many people feel that way. Yeah, they have a job and they have this routine. They go to work, they come back, but it's like they're not really living out their purpose, are they?
Yeah. Yeah, it was kind of I guess it was a hollow feeling. Like I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do, but I didn't know what I was supposed to be doing. And so it was, if I was created in God's image, I didn't think what I was doing was something that God would create me to do.
Wow.
And like I said, it had to be something more meaningful. And looking back, that one thought actually changed my journey over the last 14 years, which has brought me here.
That's amazing. And during that experience, how did that affect your confidence?
I guess to the point that, I know I didn't know everything. I don't think, and so once that started, and you don't really realize it until like a couple of years later where your journey changes.
Yes.
But knowing the fact that, creating that thought and that question can bring the answers that you're looking for, not even knowing what they are.
Yes.
So
So true. Because I am ABD. I haven't earned a PhD, but not all but the dissertation. But one thing I learned from my PhD program when I was a student is we don't know all of the answers, but asking the right question will probably get you up to 50% toward the answer, even though you don't know what it is. And like me, I know you are a person of faith. How did this experience affect not just your mental health, but also your spiritual journey and your worldview?
yeah, and I'd have to say it strengthened it a lot, and because I have always had some kind of coach, one way or another, whether it's
Hmm.
physical health or life, and so working with my life coach, I also now have a spiritual coach, which is really great. And
Yes.
that particular change in my life, once I started recognizing what it was that was changing,
Mm.
it kind of reminds me of, used to, whenever I get some money, there would be something come along that took it away, and I'm going, why does that
Mm.
keep happening? And when you change the mindset of it was given to you before it happened, so you would have it when you needed it.
Yes. Wow.
So, yeah, changing my uh, outlook on the way things happen and creating a bigger awareness of when they happen. Uh,
That is powerful. So did that what did that experience teach you?
what was that?
What did that experience teach you? What did you learn from it?
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask.
Wow.
You know,
Go
uh,
back to humility.
yeah, the answers might not come in the microwave mindset that we have, where we expect the answer right now.
Yes.
But the answer might, and the answer doesn't come until you're ready for it. So I think it was Confucius that said, you know, when the student is ready, the teacher will appear.
Yes.
And when the student is really ready, the teacher will disappear.
Hmm. So what was the pivot point for you in that moment? You are at your desk and you're asking, what in the world am I doing? What is my purpose? What was I born for? How did you find your answer?
Yeah, I guess within 2 weeks, a friend of mine who our son was in scouts together, he approached me and my wife about something that he and his wife were doing. And it happened to
Uh,
be, travel. So, I said, that sounds like fun to me. So, we did that, had some great vacations, went to some of the top resorts, and met another lady through that connection that introduced me
mm,
to an organization called Landmark Worldwide. And that is a transformational education process. And through
mm.
that, I met another lady that was in the humanitarian work, and she got me inspired to, figure out, okay, there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done and can be done out there. So she's the one that actually inspired me to become the humanitarian of helping other
Wow.
people.
That's
So that's
amazing.
the journey, a real quick journey of
Yes.
how my thought transformed into helping homes for children.
That's really amazing. So, what role did discipline? I think you learned that in the army, but faith as well, and coaching, and just humility. What role did they play in you this discovering why you are here?
Yeah, the humility in that. It's I'm not the one doing what I do. I'm just
Mhm.
I guess the whatever you would call it,
Vessel.
the vessel that
Yes,
allows this to happen.
and
And
that's amazing.
so, yeah, going through that, you know, there's always more that can be put in your vessel.
Mm.
And so, if you go out there and seek it, you can find it.
So, how are you different today because of this experience?
I guess I used to jump to conclusions a lot, and humans as we are create all kinds of stories. And
Yes.
so, why did this happen? What's going to happen? So I worried a
Mm.
lot, and the Bible tells you that's you're not supposed to worry. If you
Yes.
do that, that's actually a sign of your weakness in faith,
Mm-hmm.
because if you have true faith and strong faith that everything is under His plan and will happen when he
Yes.
decides it's going to happen. So it's actually created my faith to be stronger. Uh, it's not that I'm not concerned or don't care about what happens, but
Mm-hmm.
what happens is his plan. So I agree with it and I accept it for what it is. Yeah.
Powerful, powerful. But also, I guess, kind of looking forward, we talked a lot about your son who did join the Navy. How will this experience kind of shape the legacy you leave behind, especially with the work you do with a non-profit?
Yeah, I wasn't expecting him to go in the military. Uh, we never really talked about it, and he just told us one day he was going to join the Navy. I'm like,
Wow.
that's pretty cool. So I don't know where his inspiration came from, but hopefully I had something to do with that. And
That's really something.
if you think of the power of the word, spoken word, it actually has the power of life and death.
Yes.
And
Yes.
in what I deal with in the children, if you encourage them, you can create a mindset for them that
Powerful.
realizes possibilities are there. Whereas
Man,
if you discourage it, it actually kills the dreams that they would have.
true.
So
True. Man, it's legacy of service. That's just awesome. Maybe whenever he has children, I don't know if you have any grandkids now, one of your grandkids might join the Marine, then you're gonna go full circle. All four branches of the military. Your dad being in the Army, you the Air Force, your son the Navy.
well,
So now we need a
yeah,
Marine.
I'll share the advice my dad gave me, and I'll give it to anybody else. He said, being in the Army, he said, if you join the Navy or the Air Force, you'll always have an education, a
Yes,
dry
yes.
bed, and a warm meal to eat.
Yes, indeed. And if you
But
join the Air Force, you will also have a golf course to play
yeah,
in.
so I think his advice.
It looks like you guys built the Air Force, the golf course first, and then a strip for your plans and everything else. But it's just, and you seem to have the best food too, by the way. I don't know what they feed the airmen, but it's so good. So back to your book. You describe sitting on, one of your most powerful insight in the chapter you wrote is that our choices, they largely determine where we are in life today. It's really the choices you make today that will determine where you will be tomorrow. Why is personal accountability so important?
Yeah, today it's lacking, is from what I see. And if you have the mindset that I'm here because of everything else that everybody did,
Hmm.
that's farthest from the truth.
Wow.
Because if you wait on them to do something to help you improve your situation or wherever you're at, they're not
Yes.
going to do it. If you're fortunate enough to find somebody that will help, you can do that, but you have to go out there and put the effort out to find that.
Mm.
And so you have to be responsible for the decisions you make in your life and the actions that you take and the results from those. So blaming other people for the situation you're in, you can see where that's getting everybody in today's life. Doesn't really solve anything. You just end up
Yes.
wallowing in the mess that you've created. And
Hmm.
it goes back to the picture on my desk. You're responsible for
Yes.
your decisions. So
That is so powerful, and I'm so glad you put this into writing, and I think everybody should really consider about writing a book because in many ways I think all of us we do have something to teach based on our experiences on this earth. You both in the military as an executive, but also in the philanthropic world. And the process we talked about, right? You went through a transformational process that really helped you discover who you really were versus who you thought you were. And I feel like so many people listening right now, they might be at that moment, that crucible where they really have to make a decision. What was one of the hardest truths you had to face about yourself? What did you discover?
people didn't think of me how I thought they thought of me.
Hmm.
And it wasn't from direct words or communication. It's just looking back at what I had been doing and the reason I had been doing it. And I found out that, it was pretty selfish. because I didn't take into consideration the sacrifices and that other people were making while I was doing that. And going back, and if you really have the, I guess, the kahunas or whatever you want to call it, to look at yourself in an honest, respective or reflective means, you can see that, okay, everybody probably has somewhere where they can improve. And that really hurt. Yeah.
Wow. And I think another thing that jumps in your book, and by the way, for those listening or watching, we are talking about Breakthrough Leadership with Alan Lowe. I think everybody should get a copy of this book for sure. And one thing I think where you can even help my audience more is you openly discuss, right, realizing that your pursuit of success came at a cost to your family. That level of vulnerability is rare. Why was it important to share that? Because I feel like a lot of people can definitely relate with that.
Yeah. If, the way I look at it is, I'm sure you've heard that your mess can become your message.
Yes.
So it's kind of a way for me to plant seeds in somebody's mind that take a really in-depth look at who you really are, not who you think you are. And like I say, be prepared to be disappointed in yourself.
Wow. That's simple, but it's so profound. Be prepared to be disappointed in yourself. So always growing, always learning. Because another quote you share in the book by Ray Kroc, right? As long as you are green, you are growing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially in the age of artificial intelligence, it seems like we really have to keep learning, don't we? Because I know my grandparents, they probably only had to have like a high school education. They were done with learning. And my parents, maybe a bachelor was really all they needed. They really never had to open another book in their life. But for my generation, it's like we're going to have to keep learning over and over again. Isn't that right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. It's I'm always learning something new, whether it's in the field that I'm in or epigenetics or, stem cell research or quantum physics. I mean, it's all just, like you say, we don't know what we don't know. Yes. And that's where usually you get caught. So,
Powerful. So for the listener right now, last question I'm going to ask about the book. If there is one primary lesson, one main lesson you would like for people to remember after they read your book, what would that lesson be?
Be honest with yourself.
Yes.
And that goes back to the integrity.
Yeah, honesty, integrity, the most important core value, right? Because they said without it, none of the other core values matter.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Wow. Integrity is where all foundations start. So, yeah.
That's powerful. I really would like to talk about your nonprofit. Very excited about that, the work you do, the impacts you have. But tell us the story behind founding and helping Hugs for Children. What caused you to found this wonderful charity?
Yeah, it goes back to being involved with other people and having an open mind, trying to find out what my purpose really was, and having those people cross my journey in my life, and looking at what interested me and what could I stay focused on, and what really mattered in life, not necessarily what my priorities were, but why was I put here? So in founding that allowed me to do that, and it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't asked that one question. There's got to be something more. So and it still happens today. And
that's amazing.
Yeah, another thing that I've learned recently through my life coach was learning how to pray for favor, which I wasn't familiar with that. If you're not familiar with it, I suggest find out what it is and learn how to do it.
That is powerful. Wow. Can you tell us more about the work you are doing with your nonprofit, especially in Liberia and the surrounding region?
Yeah. We help, I guess, what we approve NGOs that already have an organization and need help growing what they're doing. And in Liberia, the guy Morris Matadi, the founder of IDEFOCS, has an amazing personal story. Talk about going through some hard times. But so I crossed his path through the lady that I had mentioned when I went through Landmark Worldwide. The lady that was doing the humanitarian work actually went there to Liberia to help him in his mission. And so what we do is we support their NGO through education and financial support, and I guess providing hope for the kids that don't have any. So this is something that goes on just about every week. I get messages from him. And,
that's amazing.
Yeah. So, Liberia, I think, is the third poorest country in the world. So they don't have a lot of opportunities and possibilities of people that can help them. So, when I get comments of, well, we need to help our own people here, I ask, okay, they don't have any millionaires in their country, let alone trillionaires. So, if somebody doesn't step up outside of their country, they don't have any help. So, yeah. But so anyway, that's how I got started with them. And our purpose over there is to create possibilities and opportunities for children that they don't see any that exist. So.
Yes. And I think when we had our pre-call meeting, you told me you have a special project that you're working on now in Liberia. Can you tell us more about that?
In March, they had a business where they created income to support their organization, which was packaging bottled or potable water in bags. And they had a generator and the supplies and that to do that. And in March, all of that went up in flames. So right now they don't have any way to create an income, and we're raising money, which is on the website, to replace that generator and go with solar power so they don't have to buy gasoline, which is very expensive. And that way they can start regenerating the income that they lost to support their organization. So right now that's our main goal, is to replace that equipment and the supplies that they need to start that business over again. So the budget and everything is on the website. So, and it's under the donate page.
So how can my audience help if they want to volunteer or donate?
Yeah, if you go to helpinghugsforchildren.org and go to the donate page, on that page, there's a lot of things that we are on our bucket list. And I believe the water generation business is there as well. Any contribution can help. And I mean, if you even want to have a school named after you, we're doing that. You can donate $53,000 and get the school named after you. So it goes from there all the way down to $1. It doesn't matter.
That really goes a long way, especially in a country like Liberia, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. Wow. That is amazing. Well, thank you really for the work you do. I believe it is God's work, and you're definitely making a difference. And like I said in the introduction, Liberia is I am originally from Africa, but Liberian are African American who decided to go back to Africa, and they created their own country. So they are American too. And whatever you guys listening can do. And for those who know, I ask people so that we have maximum participation. I don't think philanthropy should be reserved to the millionaire or the billionaire, but just think about even just giving $5. If everybody who's listening to me right now give only $5, I reach out to about 66,000 people. That would be about $300,000, and I think that's going to be more than enough money to take care of that generator. Let's say the price of a Starbucks cup of coffee. Just don't take coffee for one day and give that money away for such a worthy cause. And again, just so that everybody knows, the website where they can find more information, it's
helpinghugsforchildren.org.
helpinghugsforchildren.org. Wow, powerful. Thank you so much for the work you do. So we are already running out of time. I can't believe it. Before I do the lightning round, which is the last segment today, is there a question I should have asked you, Alan, that I didn't get a chance to ask? Anything else you'd like to share to my audience?
No, we actually covered, the kind of emergency fundraising that we're doing, which that's really high on the priority. They're getting ready to start a new school year, and not having any money is kind of difficult. But and the property for the school has already been purchased, so now we just got to get the funds to build a school. But we're on our way, and I appreciate your opportunity. So again, my prayer for favor. This is
yes. Well, before I go through the last segment of the show, one important question I like to ask is, knowing what you know now and having lived out your life and having this incredible success both in the military as an executive and now your philanthropic work, what advice would you give out to your 17-year-old self, knowing what you know today?
Get over the fear of who you think you are.
Powerful. Powerful. All right. For this segment, just mention the first thing that comes to mind. Don't take too long to think. Whatever thought that comes to your head first, I want to hear it. How has your faith influenced your leadership journey?
Definitely made me a non-quitter.
Wow, I love that. Okay, leadership is definition. One word or a phrase.
It's seeing potential in other people that they can't see themselves.
Okay, success is.
It's finding as many people as you can while you're here and helping them to the next level, one step at a time.
For some reason, I'm pretty sure that's not the way you thought of success in your 20s. What has changed?
Yeah. Back then, it was, keeping up with the Joneses.
Yes, I think that's where most people start their career. But the truth is, like we talked about in your book, it comes a time where that doesn't fulfill and satisfy anymore, does it?
Yes. Yeah.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah, that usually comes to somebody's mind eventually.
Yes.
And hopefully it's not when you're on your deathbed taking your last breath and you think,
yes,
I'm glad I did instead of I wish I had.
So true. So true. Yeah, because one of my mentors told me in any city, the cemetery is the wealthiest place in town because so many people died with their dreams, not having the courage to try or do what they were really called for. Wow. That could really be life changing. One book every leader should read.
The Bible.
Okay. And is there a book you recommend that you didn't write yourself?
Yeah, there's so many of them. Like David Goggins and his book that You Can't Hurt Me.
Mm-hmm.
If you learn or you read it and learn where he started from.
Yes. Wow. Powerful.
Yeah, if you looked at the mountain that he had to go through, he never would have started.
Wow. What is one habit that changed your life?
My morning and evening prayers every day.
Powerful. And one person who influenced you the most?
That would have to be my creator.
Okay. I accept that, but one human being who influenced you the most. But I definitely agree with your answer.
To me, that changes because it depends on what time phase in your life and what season you're going through.
Lately.
Right now it's my life coach.
Fantastic. So, okay. What is next for you, Alan?
I guess meeting the next person that don't think they're good enough.
All right. Before I ask you the very last question, we do have a question from the audience. Daniel has a question for you. Is on LinkedIn. It says, "Why are you here? Is the ultimate audit of a leader's core genius. In my work with honor mode, we found that without a system to translate that why into daily operational behavior, it remains abstract. How do you both ensure that the why is integrated into the daily how of organizational governance?" That's a good question. Actually, not both. You, Alan, how do you integrate that? So once you know why you are here, how do you actually work it out every single day? How do you put it into practice?
Yeah, I guess in the difficult times that you face, which you will face those on a daily basis.
Yes.
Sometimes I get kind of lost in, the decisions and not trying to gather all the information, but it all boils down to a forward question is, what would Jesus do?
Yes. Powerful. If only everybody could do that, we'd be living in a much better place, wouldn't we?
Yeah, it takes practice, and it also, you always have to remember to ask that question.
Yes. Wow.
Yeah.
If it's okay, I want to get one more question from the audience from YouTube.
Sure.
This time, I'm really excited about this because when I first did this podcast 5 years ago, it was just me, myself, and I. Nobody heard my first podcast, but now I get people from all around the world chipping in. So he says, Alan, how much of your success in that transition was about adapting your military operating system to a corporate environment versus building a completely new one from scratch? I guess from you, from Vietnam, and coming back home and transitioning into the industry.
I guess it was more or less learning to deal with people.
Mhm.
And, I mentioned earlier about learning how to speak their language.
Yes.
And it's in the military, you still run into all kinds of people like the guy that was worried about shiny boots. I didn't
Mm.
understand his language at the time, but had I watched the commencement speech by the admiral, I would have understood what he meant. And
Yes.
it could have changed my whole life because at that decision, at that point in time, I decided
Mm.
this ain't for me.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
yeah.
So true. Well, thank you. Thank you for your service. And again, we are on the eve of the 250th birthday of America. America really represents a lot. When our founders, I guess Thomas Jefferson was the one, when he wrote, all men are created equal. That really changed history. I mean, no country on earth has ever been written on a creed like that. It was always about, no, hey, I am born a noble and you guys are going to be slave or my subject or whatever. But no country in the world was really created out of the idea that all men are created equal.
Right.
Freedom, freedom, freedom. That's so, so, so powerful. All right. So the very last question I am going to ask you, Alan, is throughout your life, you've been a veteran, an executive, husband, father, author, best-selling author, I should say, nonprofit founder, and servant leader. If there is one message you want every listener around the world to remember after today's conversation, what would that message be?
Yeah, it's got to be find your purpose. Because
Mm,
without that, why are you here?
wow.
And once you find it, like I say, you'll develop an emotional attachment to it.
Yes. So powerful. Well, thank you so much for being one of our master's teachers today. I'm going to be listening to this podcast again. Really, really I appreciate that, Alan. Do you have any final word before we end the show?
No. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that. All right, this is one for the book. Thanks again, Alan. So, everybody, please consider making a purchase today. It's already a best-selling offer, but let's get more copies of the Breakthrough Leadership with Alan Lowe. It's available on Amazon. Go ahead and purchase the group, and if you can, also support his nonprofit. I think he's just doing God's work there in Liberia, helping hugsforchildren.org, and follow him on linkedin.com in Alan-Lowe-31017449. All right. Thank you again for all of the support you provide to all of our featured guests. So as we end today, we are celebrating Black History Year here on the Leadership and Success podcast, as you know. So, two things today. One, I'm going to play a really quick video about what happened in Boston in the 70s, remembering the Boston busing crisis. So, that was, again, I was really shocked to find out about this because this was not Alabama where I have lived, the deep South, Georgia, or Mississippi, or anything. That's Boston, Massachusetts, right? Those people were supposed to be Yankees, and but what happened in the 70s? It was a crisis about busing. In 1974, the U.S. District Court Judge Arthur Garrity ruled that the Boston School Committee had intentionally maintained segregated public school system, a white in one school system and the black in the other. Usually, the white school were very well funded and the black one were underserved. So they decided that violated the constitutional rights of black children. So the court ordered a desegregated plan that required students to be bused across neighborhood line to create integrated school. And then hell just broke loose in Boston. That really shocked the world. And there is especially one picture, I think I have it here. They thought people were going to die. This man was using the flag, our ensign, not to be thankful for what God did in America, but to use it as a weapon to try to kill or injure and beat a black lawyer. And again, this is not in Mississippi, it's not the KKK, it's not in Alabama, not in Mobile, Alabama, but in Boston, Massachusetts in the 70s. So I'm going to play a short video about that as we take off today. But I also want to honor one man, one of my personal heroes. He is Justice Thurgood Marshall, the very first African-American Supreme Court justice in the U.S. Without him, there is no Justice Jackson. On July the 2nd, that was yesterday, 1908, he was born in Baltimore, Maryland. He would help transform America. Thurgood Marshall, the first African-American justice of the United States Supreme Court and one of the most influential civil rights attorneys in our nation's history. He was also the founder of the LDF, which is still in operation today. But ironically, Marshall's passion for the Constitution began as a punishment. As a mischievous student, his principal required him to memorize section of the Constitution. What was intended as discipline became his destiny. I'm going to play a very, very short video, like 1 minute, honoring this giant. It's really amazing. As a naturalized U.S. citizen, I was required to read the U.S. Constitution. So I have read it and I passed the citizenship test. And of course, in February 2006, I became a U.S. citizen. It's really amazing to me how many people in America are patriots, but they actually have never read the Constitution themselves. It's not that big of a document. I think everybody should read it at least once. Okay, so I'm going to play two short videos, one about the Boston busing and then one honoring a giant, Thurgood Marshall. Here we go.
Today marks 50 years since school buses started shuttling school children across Boston. It was part of a court-ordered plan to desegregate the district, but it sparked violent protests. And to this day, it remains an event that influences how Boston is viewed. NBC 10's Malcolm Johnson's joining us live from Boston with the violent story that followed that court's decision. Malcolm?
Colton, we know that there was a lot of violence and anger throughout the city after the court made that decision to desegregate the schools. In fact, I spoke with one man today who says it is still traumatic for him today to think about what happened 50 years ago, just considering all he went through.
When Boston schools were court-ordered to desegregate in 1974, things got ugly quickly.
I remember as a young kid being spit on by white boys, going to Cub Scout, and it was very difficult to go into Cub Scout singing "My Country 'Tis of Thee, Sweet Land of Liberty," but I remember smelling of liquor and spit.
Buses for black students to get to the newly integrated schools were met with racial violence.
Assault on Ted Vance Martin.
Community organizer Lou Feinfer is now leading a tour marking historic locations of the 50th anniversary of the fight for school desegregation.
This is the most important event, I think, that's happened in civic history in Boston in the last 75 years.
Black Lives Matter banners hang in the window here at South Boston High School in 2024. But on this day back in 1974, of the 1,300 black Roxbury students that were assigned to come here, only 100 showed up because they knew they'd be facing difficult circumstances.
We had concern that someone would be killed that day, and if someone had been killed that day, Boston would have had a civil war.
Ira Jackson was then Boston Mayor Kevin White's chief of staff, who supported integration.
All of the school buses were hit with bricks, and the black children were greeted with racial epithets. Bananas were thrown at some of the children.
The children at the now named Excel High School are under Principal Nichelle Gordon's leadership.
I was raised in Don't Walk Through South Boston, right? And I just took that as fact.
And she values how far education in Boston has come.
It's important for students to understand their history and where they stand in history and the strength within the history itself.
And this is history that so many here in this city remember as if it just happened yesterday, Colton. So if you're interested in going on this tour, you can do just that. It'll begin this Saturday, starts at 10 o'clock in the morning, just
a towering figure who became the nation's first black United States Supreme Court Justice, Thurgood Marshall, devoted his life to ending legal discrimination. Marshall joined the NAACP soon after graduating from Howard University Law School, and in 1940 founded the NAACP Legal Defense Fund to fight segregation using the courts. Marshall argued 32 cases before the Supreme Court and won 29, including the landmark 1954 Brown v. Board decision, which outlawed racial segregation in public education. In 1967, President Lyndon Johnson appointed Marshall to the Supreme Court, where for a quarter century he worked to advance affirmative action and reproductive rights and to abolish the death penalty. Marshall told graduating college students, "This is your democracy. Make it, protect it, pass it on."
Thank you for tuning in to the Leadership and Success Podcast with your host, Coach BZ. If today's episode added value to your leadership journey, be sure to subscribe, share, and join us again for more wisdom nuggets on how to lead better and achieve greater success. Remember, leadership is the most critical skill of our time. The world will always need leaders to inspire others, drive innovation, and execute meaningful strategy. So why not count yourself among the bold leaders shaping the 21st century? Until next time, stay inspired, stay committed, and keep leading with excellence.